I'm about to show you the greatest analytics tool that you need for your website, and it's absolutely free. If you hate Google Analytics, if you want something that's more privacy focused, if you want something that's better to understand, easier to use, then you're gonna absolutely love this tool. I've been searching for one for so long, and I finally came across the one that I'm gonna be using going forward. In addition to showing you the tool, I'm gonna show you my specific setup on how I do it without using any cookie banners on my website and still complying with local regulations. The tool is Posthog. It's amazing for websites and for apps, and we're gonna dive into it right now. The first thing you need to do when you get started is click on Posthog Cloud EU. Now what this is gonna do is it's gonna change the URL to go to eu.posthog.com instead of app.posthog.com. And this is super important because if you wanna comply with EU regulations and not have to use the cookie banners like I mentioned, I should pause right here. I did a little research on this stuff. I use a lot of ChatGPT. Please don't take any of this as legal advice. I very well can be in the wrong on some of this, but this is the setup I'm pretty confident is working for me. Okay, so having said that, if you sign up under the EU version, then you're able to comply better with EU regulations without cookie consent banners. That's not the only thing you need, but when the data is housed within European data centers, the laws are a little bit better for you and for your site on how you manage the data. If you're hosting it outside of the EU, GDPR regulations aren't so favorable for you. So I signed up for eu.posthog. They're completely different. So if you accidentally sign up for the other one first, you need to sign up for EU second, and you can't like migrate the data or anything like that. I'm going to show you how to add code specifically for the EU one later. But for right now, I just kind of want to show you the dashboard and show you a couple things I'm using. Now, heads up, I am using an absolute fraction of what's available here. I'm pretty new to the tool and I'm using it in very basic ways right now. So you're going to be able to do all the things that you want to do, like tracking how many people are going to your site, but you're also going to be able to do a lot more, such as creating different funnels. So once you add the script to your site, it's going to have a bunch of events that are automatically captured, such as page views. But all of this stuff you need to configure manually. So even though the events are captured, you need to display it in your own charts. Unlike Google Analytics, who has so much stuff pre-configured, this chart for whatever, another chart for another thing, while there is some stuff automatically configured like referring domains, a lot of it you create your own insights. And when you create your own insight, you're able to track trends, funnels, retention, user path, stickiness, lifecycle, all this great stuff that I'm not using a lot of it, but funnels is definitely a big one where you're able to piece together different steps and then add filters. So you want to say page views, but only where certain properties exist, like the URL is a certain URL or they're browsing from mobile or something like that. And then you might want to say after that a form submission. So it's super customizable. I mean, you can get into like a lot of different stuff with this, and the free tier is so generous. So let's get into pricing. All right, with the free tier, you get 1 million events per month. Page views, form submissions, page leaves. There's more events than like you would think about. It's not just like if they visit the website, that's one page view. If they click a link, that's another event. So it definitely adds up, but 1 million is super generous. You get the dashboards, the funnels, the graphs, all included. Some of this other stuff you don't get. But what else is you get a session replay. So like Hotjar are these things that record your website's visitors to show their actions on the website. You get 15,000 recordings per month. I don't think this pricing is sustainable. I think they're going to end up raising it eventually, or maybe, I don't know, the enterprise customers will cover the free tiers. But for now, I would say just get in because maybe they'll grandfather you into some of this stuff. But this tool is the real deal. There's probably like an hour's worth of a tutorial that we can go into on this. And frankly, I don't even know the tool well enough to talk about it for an hour, but I do want to show you my specific setup on how I avoid cookie banners on my website. So I believe the regulation with GDPR is that you can't track the visitor from page to page and kind of piece it together. Even if you have no idea who they are, it's because you have a cookie on your website. I think that's the reason why. I think that's really dumb. And, you know, I might be biased because I'm a marketer, but at the same time, I also am very privacy focused. And I just don't think that if you track a visitor, you know, 5 pages throughout the website and you have no idea who they are, that really invades their privacy. But that's the way it is. So your options are displaying a cookie banner, and the proper way to do it is your script doesn't load until they click accept. Scrolling doesn't count as accepting, and there's no implied consent if they go to your website. They have to click consent in order for your scripts to run. And I don't like the fact that they can't just get right to their content without having to click a button. I just want my website to be as pure as possible, get them exactly what they're looking for. And so this is the way that I've done it. In Cloudflare Zaras, check out the last video, which goes over this awesome tool that lets you add scripts to your website. I have 2 different buckets, well, 3 different buckets. We've got EU visitors, non-EU visitors, and then all regions for scripts that doesn't matter where they're at. They're going to run regardless because they're not tracking any PII. Okay, so for my EU visitors, I have Posthog here, but I run it in a special way. So when you add the script, this is basically the script they give you up until right here. I added this comma persistence memory. And what this does is it doesn't leave any cookies in their browser, and the way it tracks the visitor is just one page at a time, and it doesn't create a profile on them. So the downside of this from the marketing perspective is if they go to the home page, then they go to the About Us page, and then the Contact Us page, I believe that shows us 3 separate users. It's not going to show as one visitor who browsed 3 pages because it can't. There's no cookie, there's nothing to connect those 3 page views. In my case, I don't really care that much because I'm not concerned as much about like that at all. I want to know about conversions and stuff like that. So it's okay, I don't have a complete customer profile. Sure, I would prefer one, but if it means I do it this way and not have a cookie banner, I would much rather do that. So that's what's going on. You go to my website, no cookie banner, but when you go to the non-EU visitors, I have different tools set up, but I just have this. So it's still tracking to the EU because I want all my data in one dashboard. However, this is now tracking the user profiles all together. So for example, I'm looking at a person. I don't know who they are. They have just some random ID applied to them, but I can track all of their events on my website. Now, in this case, they only went to one page, or maybe this is an EU visitor where it only tracks one page at a time. And so when they come back, it's going to register as a new person, but I can see that they went to my website, they clicked on a certain link, and then they left the website. And based on this, I might set up some like funnels to figure out, well, I want them to do something else. Let me track that engagement and try to change that and make sure they click to at least 2 pages or whatever it might be. So I'm happy to say that I have 0 Google tools running on my website, not Google Analytics, not Google Tag Manager, not Google Ads. It is completely free of that. And that's important because all of their tools pretty much, I believe, require a cookie banner. They do a lot of data harvesting and whatever. And this tool, not only like put all that aside, this tool is way more insightful than Google Analytics. I am, especially after GA4, I just don't like it at all. This tool is the replacement. This is the one that I totally recommend you use. It's free. I'm using it. If you've ever felt that like you're just not getting the insights you want on your website and you just want more from your analytics tool, something that actually like gives you the proper insights of being able to piece a person's story together and piece funnels together and watch the session replays, then Posthog is the right tool for you. And combine it with Cloudflare Zaras and you're onto something really great. I was really stoked when I set this up, so I wanted to share it with you. All right, peace.